It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
This next question, Brian, this is a good one. This is from Dan. Two Dans, Dan squared. How do I go about finding the right stocks and index funds to invest into to average 10% growth? Looking for a dividend? Question mark. So this is Dan's advice. It sounds like he's someone starting out, new to this investing game. Hey man, how do I know what stocks to buy? How do I know what indexes to buy? Is there something out there that can help me figure out this whole investing thing? And oh, by the way, I've heard dividends might be a good thing. Should I just go look for those types of things?
So much confusing information out there. I think that we are blessed with all the information that's now freely available through our cell phones and computers and the internet is truly incredible. You can become an expert on about anything. We're doing Easter eggs this weekend. Mm-hmm. My wife was over at somebody's house and she's like, "Hey, you can do that." I was like, boiling eggs. I haven't done boiled eggs in a long time. So I quickly went, just like I made the joke about Daniel and Neo and, downloading. You can go on YouTube and figure out. Yeah, I went and watched a YouTube video on how to boil eggs. Very simple, by the way.
You had to
quit. How long? Okay, tell me how long do you have to have eggs boil? How long do they have to boil before you can pull them off?
Well, I don't know the answer to that question. Now I feel bad for throwing daggers.
That's my case. So, but Dan is making the great point of investing is that it's easy when somebody comes on your screen of YouTube or you listen to a podcast. You're like, just go invest and you can get 10%. You're like, man, that would be spectacular. How do I get that magical 10% you're talking about? And especially you're distracted by all the people who are like, if you go sign up for my process, if you go buy my course, if you'll buy this individual stock because I recommend it in my newsletter, you too can have great performance. All that is noise that distracts you. Let me simplify this. When we say 10%, we're basically talking about the long-term performance of the S&P 500. If you go and historically look at all the decades, it's going to range somewhere between 9 to 11%. Not every year. I will tell you, that's the thing about investing is that there is definitely this efficient frontier of your balancing risk and return is that it doesn't show up in perfect little 9% or 10% buckets of returns. You'll have one year that you make 28%. You'll make another year that you lose 4%. You'll have another year that you make 6%. But when you bring it all together, you're going to find a historical average somewhere between 9 to 11%, depending upon which decade you're pulling in or pushing out. And that's what we're saying when we say 10%. So you're like, okay, well, great. I'll just go buy the S&P 500 index. And that would be a good endeavor that would probably do well. But here's the other part of investing that gets a little complicated. While you're young, take on tons of risk. You can handle it because you're not pulling this money out of your retirement accounts for like 30, 40 years. So you can bounce around a lot. But the problem is the older you get, the more conservative you need to get because you actually will get to a point you need to pull this money out. So that creates a lot of opportunity. And realize, and all this is going on that you're making these decisions. You've got this behavioral thing, this whisper in your ear of the nightly news, your friends at parties where they're like, hey, I know those guys on YouTube with the Money Guy show said that you can make 9 to 10, 11%, somewhere in there, but this is a new paradigm.
Things are scary. It's awful frothy really right now.
Don't listen. You need to get out. Get on the cat. You work too hard. You got to get on the sidelines, or you listen and you're someone who's 40 or 50, 45, 55, retirement in 10 years, and you're like, those guys, they were talking about diversifying. Why would I diversify when the stock market made over 20% last year? I'm going pedal to the metal, grip and rip. Let's go with this thing. Come on, guys. We got more money to make here. Do you see the dance we have with fear and greed? Fear is when we're like, get out. I want to be safe. Greed is, man, I like making that 20% last year. Come on, let's get a little bit more of that. That's what there's this whole Matthew McConaughey. Yep. All right. Let's get some more of that good stuff there. Guys, it gets complicated, and I can tell you there's a simple answer, and this is why we try to bring this in, and we take a little flack for it because it does simplify things down, but the biggest thing I want a young person doing, focus on the behavior, the habit of saving and building wealth. Go in the beginning, use simplified index target retirement funds. The biggest providers are at like Vanguard, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, where all you have to answer is 2 questions. How much can I save? When do I need the money? And if you can know those 2 answers, you can go buy an indexed target retirement fund that will be practically free because they don't have commissions, they don't have high internal expenses, and they will do all the diversification decisions for you. And guess what? As you get older, they get more conservative. So while you're young, they're wide open. But as you get close to retirement, they're on this glide path. Now, I'm going to leave a little meat on the bone because a lot of people will hear this advice and be like, Brian, you just totally put yourself out of a job. Because why would anybody hire a financial planner when I can just go buy this index target retirement funds? And that's because we have the knowledge that you will graduate from this. But in the beginning, this is a great resource.